Hashem, chapter 20 in the Tanya. So the Baal Tanya said that we said serving Hashem, right? It's karov elecha meod. We said it's very within your reach, and we said also in chapter 19 that we all have a dormant love inside of us, deep inside. Even the farthest Jew from Hashem, at the end of the day, when pushed to test the faith, he most likely will, they tell him convert or die, he probably will die for Hashem, even though he was very far from Hashem. And we said there's a way to wake up this dormant love, even if either you have a very powerful spiritual experience, or if a person is able to overcome his desires and clean out all the klipa from all his desires for Olam Hazeh, so then he'll be able to also feel the natural love he has as an inheritance from Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. Okay, good. So now we're going to go back to this discussion of a Zohar that the Tanya quotes now. He says, now he says everybody knows ki mitzvah avodah zara, the mitzvah to only have one God and not to believe in idols. He says, Shem dibrot rishonim, which is the first two commandments of the 10 commandments. Anochi Hashem, right? And velo yelecha. I am your God who took you out of Egypt, and you shall not have any other gods. Hem klalut kol Torah kula. These are really statements that include the whole Torah inside of them. Ki dibur anochi kolel kol ramach mitzvot aseh, velo yelecha kolel kol shesha mitzvot lo taseh. I am Hashem your God is a positive commandment. So that includes all the positive commandments in the Torah, the 248. And then the lo yelecha, don't have other gods, includes in it all the 365 negative transgressions. That's what the Zohar says. You think about it, every mitzvah in the Torah, what is it? Do what Hashem says, and don't do what Hashem says not to do, right? So every test, what is it? What I want, what Hashem wants. What I want, what Hashem wants. And we have to always realize we have to do what Hashem wants. Sometimes Hashem says don't do, and we say I want to do. Not allowed. Sometimes Hashem says do, and I say I don't want to do. I want to sit and be lazy. So we have to do what Hashem wants. So included in these two commandments is all the commands of the Torah. The Menachem Breslev writes that today, who wants to serve a Jew who has like a hidden idol in his closet at home, that he has a shrine room, he bows down to idol avodah zarah secretly. There's not barely any Jews like this. So he says, what's the big test for avodah zarah? Because in the times of King Menashe, times of David HaMelech, there was a huge desire for avodah zarah. Until Masechet Yuma says that they had to go and they made a special ritual, the Chachamim, in order to abolish the Yitzhara for avodah zarah, and they weakened it. But where did it go today? Instead, says Rabbi Nachman, it's going to the money. It went to the money. Today it goes in the money. Today in the God we trust, it says on the dollar. For some people it's God in the sky. Some people it's God on the dollar. Meaning they do what the money says. The money says work on Shabbat, okay, I work on Shabbat. The money says swindle this guy, swindle that guy, okay, I'll do what the money says. So the money says, don't go to shul, come to work first thing in the morning, okay, I'll go to do that. I'll do what the money says. The money says I have to, to get the dollar, that's what I have to do. And they don't realize that they'll be able to do all their spiritual things and all the mitzvot, and the money will still come, but that's the test of doing what the money says versus doing what Hashem says. So therefore he says, the Zohar, included in these two commandments is really all the other commands in the Torah. And that's what it means. It's the deep meaning of how the Midrash says that the first two commandments we heard from God's mouth, and the rest we were not able to hear it. We heard from Moses' mouth. Why the first two we heard from God's mouth, not anything else? Because in those two were included all the mitzvot, the Torah, positive and negative. Now, we have to realize that we have to accept Hashem as our God and also reject idol worship. Now, to understand this properly, we have to understand what it means, the unity of Hashem. So this is believing in one God is not what we learn in kindergarten anymore. We have to grow up from that. In kindergarten, they said, one God, not two gods. Okay, very nice. Everybody knows that today. So what is the deeper meaning of believing in Lo Yelecha Elokim Acharim, not to have other gods, and I am Hashem your God, the only one, and have one God? So what does that mean? So we have to realize, the Mekubalim explain, he brings from, many of the Mekubalim say, and the Baal Tanya is going to say the same thing, is that we have to realize that in our life, we have to make a unity of everything in Hashem, which means that we have to realize our parnasah is from Hashem, and our tribulations are from Hashem, our nisyonot, our trials are from Hashem, the wife we have is from Hashem, and our success is from Hashem, and everything in our life is really united in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Really, this table has life force from Hashem, so therefore that's why it exists, and everything in the world politics, and the way the things that happen, and why the world events go the way they go, everything, you see Hashem everywhere, and everything is united in Hashem. Everything is one, really, is subsumed in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's really what it means, Hashem Echad, and then the person has to work on that. And it's now you understand how the mitzvah is actually a difficult mitzvah. A person can learn the mitzvah. Okay, believe in there's one God. That's so easy. I do that in my sleep. Now you understand that believing in one God means everything in the world and everything what I experience is coming from Hashem. That's a harder job, because in the moment I feel like this guy is messing me over in business, and this guy is sticking it to me, and this guy is doing it to me. And that's where the Torah says, don't have any other gods, believe that God is one. Meaning, this is also from Hashem. And Kol David Rahmana the Taviv, and everything God does is for the best. So that's a difficult task. That's something you have to push yourself in order to be able to fulfill this mitzvah. So he says, Shenikra Yahid Miyuhad. The Midrash says that Hashem is the one and the only one. The only one in existence. Chol ma'aminim shu levadohu. Ma'aminim shu levadohu. And everyone believes him, he's the only one. Means, just like he was the alone before the world was created, and therefore he is also the only one now that is also after the world was created. Because there's a lot of people who made the mistake, the philosophers, they made a mistake. They thought, oh, God created the world, and now the humans rule it, and everything has laws of nature, or he passed it on to rulership to somebody else, chas v'shalom. No. Hashem is still involved in every single detail. People, even simple, trivial things. The Gemara says, a person went into his pocket, to stick his hand in his pocket to take out a bigger coin. He took out a smaller coin by accident. The Gemara says this is also isurin. This is also suffering from heaven. It was ordained from heaven also that you should waste one moment to go in your pocket again and pull out the right amount of money that you needed. And that was ordained from Shamayim that you should go through that. Even small trivial things like that. A person has to know it is all from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ki olam hazeh chol ha'olamot elyonim en po'alim shum shinoi b'achdoto yitbarach me'yibarah me'ayin layesh. All these worlds, in the spiritual worlds and the physical world, cannot exist without HaKadosh Baruch Hu giving it constantly something from nothing, creating something from nothing. B'shum dekula kamei kala chashiv, and anything in His presence is considered zero, meaning without Him nothing would go. Ki tavut kol ha'olamot elyonim tachrim me'ayin layesh. Everything doesn't get energized from the breath and the will of Hashem, so it doesn't exist and it cannot happen. So therefore, a person has to know this is why Hashem runs everything in the world. He gives an example. He says, like a person's soul in a person. When you say a word, right, that one word is insignificant in comparison to the power of speech you have in general. Which is really one of the soul's three garments. The soul has three garments: is the speech, the action, and the thought. Right, so a single word of speech, you could go and people talk a lot. They could talk 200 words in a minute. People could speak a lot, but at the end of the day, what does it mean that since you could speak a tremendous amount of words, that one word is, what does that one word mean? He says, and the maaseh, he says that even though we see that a lot of times our words are insignificant compared to the power of speech we have in general, or the power of thought in general, the power of act we have in general. However, he says all these things without HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanting to exist, they wouldn't be able to come to fruition. Therefore, a person has to realize that the things that come out of us, comparison to the source, they're like nothing. Same thing with Hashem. When He created us and we created everything in this world, that's really Hashem's speech, really Hashem's thought that this world should exist. It's nothing compared to the source, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu Himself. We are all nullified towards Him, and therefore we have to realize that that's what it means. Hashem is one. So when a person thinks these things and reminds themselves of these things, that without Hashem, none of this could go. And really, the source of all this is Hashem. That's why the sukkah, the same thing. The sukkah you build the walls is man-made, but the sukkah, the roof, has to be from Hashem. Hashem made the naturally grown things. To show us we hold the bowl, Hashem opens the faucet. We can do whatever we can do, but at the end of the day, without Hashem's approval, nothing's going to go. Baruch Olam.